Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle, the safe space for heart to heart conversations rooted in faith, discussing mental health, navigating adulthood, and all the things in between. It's your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your mental and spiritual, but your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Hey y'all, welcome back to the episode of the Honesty Circle. It is me, your host, Sierra Elise. How are y'all doing? I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that you remember that God loves you, and I do too. So, before we hop into today's episode, I want to take a second to chat about some updates from the Honest Circle. So, first, obviously, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I did show it on, I did talk about it there, and I'll be dropping episodes on Wednesdays now instead of on Mondays. The main reason being multiple things. I think one was like timing because like I said in the snap story, the Instagram story, basically when I serve or do anything at my church on Sunday, I'm typically very tired, and I don't have the energy to either record and edit or edit upload on Sundays. So that's number one. Number two is that, which to fix that, I'm like, oh, I could just kind of record earlier in the week. The other problem with that is that I feel that because I'm doing this real time and because I'm kind of processing things as they happen, that the day, like typically like Sundays and Mondays and Tuesdays are the days I don't have anything after work. And so those are often the days I'm able to like reflect and like process like all what's happening in my life and kind of have like understanding or be able to communicate it. And so I feel that like for the past 2 weeks, I feel like not only am I tired, but it's like my thoughts are not fully like out of like the back of my mind to be able to communicate it. And so yeah, so I was just like really thinking, okay, what's the best way to go about it? Because it's not like I don't have anything to say. And for a second I was like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna stop. And I'm like, no, because I don't think it's stopping. I think it's just like pivoting. And so that's what we're picking on Wednesdays now and not on Mondays. So for those who loved a little Monday morning start, well, now it's going to be a little midweek start. And yeah, I just think that just helps me out a little bit more to, I feel like, produce like not rushed content or rush anything, but really be authentic to myself and what I feel like God is wanting me to talk about and share. So that's number one. Number two, something is happening. Okay. So I will be hosting a Bible study. Yes, I'll be hosting a Bible study. And this is going to be the first one. It's going to be likely once a month. Not sure of how it's going to be fleshed out just yet. But I just do know that I won't be posting about it. So it's not like there's going to be a flyer that I post on the Honest Circle Instagram about like Bible study happening, here's a link, that kind of thing, because I really want it to be for people who listen to the episodes. So to start, at least, I think I really want it to be like more community based and not just like any and everybody can come. And yes, it will like kind of be talked about, you know, on socials after a while. But for this first one, it's not going to be. And it's going to be on December 29th. That's a Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that is something that you're interested in joining, please shoot an email to the Honesty Circle email that's in the show description, or shoot us a DM or something like that, and I will get you the link and information about it. So I'm super excited for that. And I'm excited that that's just kind of like, the start at the end of the year to head into the new year. So, like I said, this is the first one. I'm sure there'll be some more after that. But for right now, that's where we are. Okay, so let's hop into the episode. Okay, so I know that y'all probably all have heard. People talk about it, say the saying all the time. What's meant for me will be for me, right? We hear it, we say it, and I noticed that like I'm not gonna speak for y'all, but for me, when I say it, it's oftentimes like mindless, or it's more in a way that's gonna like make me feel better about like an opportunity, a missed opportunity, or something like that. And it's moment to moment that I actually like bring that to my mind to like say, and not something that is like consistent. And so I think it's more used for like extreme circumstances, at least for me. And so why do I bring this up? Okay, story time. So Black Friday, me and Kyla were going thrifting for like Black Friday shopping or whatever, right? And so Kyla found these spots that had different deals, and like different ones had start times. And obviously when it comes to thrifting, like it's not like they have multiple of them of the same thing in the store. Like, when you get it, you get the thing, it's once they get it, it's gone. And so we were planning to like get to a place super like I think it was like a 45 to an hour early from the first one starting. But there's gonna be another store that we were looking at to go to as well. And we're kind of like just mapping out what the sales were at the different places, what time it was, like which one she really wanted to go to, and just kind of like figuring out like what's the best kind of course of action about it. And she said this as we were like planning, but then she said it again. We were actually thrifting, which is like, it made it even better. So she says, we were kind of debating on the two different locations of what we were going to go to. I don't remember the names of them, but um, she's like, I guess we'll be okay if we're late. Like, the good stuff might be picked over, but like, if it's supposed to be for me, then like, if it's supposed to be something I get, then it'll be there when I get there. Um, yeah. So, and when she said that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Like, they might be have picked through the good stuff already, but like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's gonna be for us. Like, it's supposed to be for us, and we'll get what is there. And when she said that the first time, I was like, that was good. I know that was agreement, obviously. But then she said it again when we pulled up that day, and there was like a line. And they're like, you got a gift card or something like that for the first people who were in line. And then we're kind of like scoping the scene out, and we're kind of game planning of like, because the line's starting to also get longer as it's about to get closer to open. And we're game planning on like how we're going to kind of attack the racks and try to, find good things and blah, blah, blah. And she kind of says the same thing again of basically like I'm gonna go for kind of things I want, and or like go to the racks that I want. I'll look at the other racks too, but like if it's left and I see that I like it, then it's supposed to be for me. It means I'm supposed to get it. And so I'm like, all right, like she's cooking and she doesn't realize she's cooking on this. And if you know me, I will take a lesson or find a word and everything. But I heard that and I'm like, wow. I've heard that all the time, but like why is it like really like hitting me now? And I think it's because like the way she said it, it wasn't a reactionary response. It was like the initial response, right? And I think that oftentimes like the when I have said it, at least like it's been so reactionary. Like I don't get a job. It's like a, well, if it was meant for me, I would have got the job. Or like all of these things, like if it's meant for me, then it'll be for me. But and oftentimes I say it, I'm not gonna speak for, like I said, I'm gonna speak for myself. I say it reactionary and not in a way where it's proactive, in which I'm saying it and then moving, right? Like typically it's like something has happened, now it's causing me to say it to like kind of make myself feel better. And so I really started to think about that. So that's why it's like, if I'm utilizing that as something that's just a response and not something that is brought up to the front, do I actually believe that? Like, and then the other part that I asked myself was like, do I actually live like I believe that? No, I don't. Like in theory, yes, I believe that is what is what meant for me. It will be for me or it'll be there, right? But if I'm only saying it reactionary and not proactively, then I'm not living it out. I'm using it as a coping mechanism. And I'm like, dang, like that's not something I actually like live out. And I think what really did it for me was because we did in fact live it out real time. Like we did in fact then, before we even saw what was there, that's what she said. Before we even knew if they had good stuff or not, that's what she said. And so I was really trying to figure out like why do I struggle like living that out? Why do I struggle to like firmly believe it and walk as if I believe it? And as I was like thinking through this, I'm like, it's really because I'm not in control of the outcome. And we all know that I'm working through control. And when I live that out, it requires me to um live in a state of acceptance of whatever the of whatever said outcome is, and not like focus on how I can like control or get my preferred outcome. Because I think like that's how my brain thinks of being like for that example for with Kyla or that story with Kyla, like if that was me, I'm like, okay, so how can we do both? How can we not how can we make sure we hit both spots and get the best things at both spots? That's where my mind goes. And she's like, well, like if it's supposed to be for me, like it will happen. And I'm like, that's a level of accepting the outcome even in the way in which I go about planning it, which connects back to kind of what I talked about, I think, in one of the past episodes, where it's like kind of how God establishes our plans, where a, a I'm clinging to a said outcome all the time, and that's so counter of what God is trying to get me to do when he's telling me to trust him in all my heart and lean out on my own understanding, right? Like holding on to an outcome doesn't align with that. It doesn't align with saying that, I think it's in Proverbs like 16:9 where it talks about how a man like, a man's mind plans his ways, but it's God who establishes his steps. So like that those don't align. Like it doesn't align if I'm so clung. Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. But I'm so my grip is so tight on an outcome. And so I'm like, okay, I want to start like living that out. Like I want to start living a way in which I am believing that. And so like what does that actually look like? I mean, I'm still learning this. This happened like Thanksgiving and it's not even Christmas yet, so it hasn't been that long. But I will say, I'll give my example of like what happened to me and as to like how this really brought it to the forefront of my mind. But it allows me to stay where my feet are. So like not trying to think so future that I'm missing where my feet are now and missing the enjoyment of where I am. So I think that's one way to like live it out. Number two, I think it canceling the fears and the lies in my head of dang, there's gonna be nothing good left, or I'm gonna miss out on, or all of these like what if kind of scenarios. Like I have to live like I believe that means I have to cancel those thoughts out. Um, Another way of living as I believe it, it's continuously reminding myself of what the truth is. And that's like remind myself of what the word says in the Bible, but also truth as in like what is like not the made up scenario in my head or the expected end, but what is like happening in front of me. I think that's more kind of what I mean as truth, like reminding myself like what is now. And then also I think it allows me to embrace the experience and the journey. Like Kyla and I were freezing waiting out in that line before the store opened. But in that wait, like while yes, I was cold and I hate being cold, me and Kyla was having a great little aki. Like we was a dancing, singing, talking about stuff. Like I was able to enjoy that time because I wasn't more worried about like what I'm gonna get or like if what I was gonna like if I was gonna get anything find anything that I liked or all these things of like I was able to just enjoy that and not be in a state of like anxiety of trying to control and force an outcome um, that is to my liking. Also, I think a big thing about this is like not necessarily about being go with the flow. I think that that is like it's close to like what this is, but not necessarily in go with the flow in which it's like no plans, just vibes. I don't think I'll ever be a no plans, just vibes type of girl. Like that's now sometimes I am, but in my like in every area of my life, like that's just likely not going to be my reality. Especially because of the amount of things I have going on, and if I go with the flow and do not put things on a calendar or, look ahead of if I need someone to watch or eat, like if I don't do those things, like my life really won't happen. But I think that it allows me to be less rigid in my thinking, and like I said, less attached to an outcome, and being able to live in a state of acceptance of the reality that happens. And um yeah. So I'm gonna tell my story and then I'm gonna share kind of like what I kind of things that kind of came from this since and like how I've felt in my life as I've been trying to like live this thing out. So story time for me. Okay. So um I was at like a women's conference at my church, and there was a food like vendor outside. It's really cold outside. By the time I finished talking to people, a lot of the food was gone, and I was in line, and I actually almost skipped the line with my friend. I'm not gonna lie, I almost skipped the line, and I told the people behind me. They were like, "Are you trying to skip?" I was like, "Yes, I am. I'm not gonna lie." Um, but then as I was standing there, I was hearing them say that they were running out of food. So I was like, I can't stand in this line. I'm going to go back to the back. So I go back to the back of the line where I was, and I'm hearing them run out of food. I heard they were out of ribs. I heard that they were out of all the stuff that I wanted. And the girl in front of me was like complaining, just saying, "Oh, they are out of food." Da, 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 da. Mind you, we waited to the end. Like service had ended like a good bit ago. So if we really wanted food, we were really that hungry, we would have came out here quicker, right? Exactly. Um, and me and her were having a conversation, and I said to her, I was like, truly, like, whatever's left by the time I get up there, that means it's supposed to be for me. Um, and I know that something I like will be there. Um, when we get to the front of the line, because at this point, some other places were closed that I really wanted. At one of Bojangles, it was closed. So something I like is gonna be there for me to eat. And yeah. And so we get to, I'm watching people go through line. They're out of that. And by the time she gets to the front of the line, she hears what they say that they have, and she's like, "Oh, like she didn't really want that." And so she was like, she turns to me and says, "I hope you enjoy." And so I was able to go up there. I got my ribs, I got my chicken, I got my sides, and while it wasn't what I originally planned I was gonna get, did I eat that plate? Not the whole plate, the one in that night, but that plate, I did. The plate bus, it did. And even while people were coming up and people were like just complaining, they were out all this stuff, and I just was sitting there because I was cold, I'm getting hungry, so I'm about to get hangry. And I was just trying to be like not feed into the complaints, because I'm like, I've made peace with whatever is gonna be up there. I'm supposed to be getting it, period. So yeah. And while that's still like super minuscule, I think that's my first time like living that out, where it's like what's for me is supposed to be for me, and I am not going to attach myself to said outcome, and really like vibe is not the word, but like really rest. I think that's the better word. Really rest in my reality rest in my like right now, knowing that what was gonna come would also still satisfy me. And I will say, I don't think I've actually done that before. I don't think I've actually ever like said that to myself in a way in which like it was before, like I said, before the result. But since that happened, I feel like that was God. That's what God knew I needed to like embrace it in other areas of my life. Like I like when things happen on a small scale, I'm like, oh, I see the lesson. It makes sense. Now let me kind of like, live this thing out. And I will say like this happened like this past weekend. So it hasn't been that many days, but I will say that um I've had less anxiety um since. I do know that there has been like an increased trust and confidence in who God is, because I am relying on that. I feel like I'm less frustrated with outcomes because if I'm accepting of the outcome that is there, um, and not trying to formulate an outcome that is manufactured by me, then I'm less frustrated when the thing doesn't happen my way. Like, was I not happy when I got up there and like they didn't have mac and cheese? Yeah, I did want some mac and cheese, but that's okay. Because I was satisfied with what was there. I find myself, I think I was like less tense, um, less complaining, and there's a joy. And I feel there was a little satisfaction of like when I got to the front, I was able to say, and they told me what they had. I was excited. I was excited. And yeah, like I feel like that when I say that's nothing, something I have not experienced before ever in my life, like ever in my life is probably a stretch, but like not as tangible when I can actually remember and recall of like a time in which I have just been that accepting of an outcome. So yeah, so that's what this episode is about. Like I'm trying to live like I believe it. And I want you to live like you believe it too. I want you to live like you believe what is for you is for you. And not in a way in which you're saying this to yourself after the fact, but in a way that you are saying this before the outcome is even presented, before the options are even presented, that you are saying this and you're believing it and you are living like you believe it, and you're going to be able to receive the outcome, the like benefits that come with living like you believe it. You can take my advice or not. That is just my 2 cents. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. If you liked anything that you heard, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Honesty Circle Pod. I did change the Instagram, so you'll know more underscore, but it's at the Honesty Circle Pod. And make sure you follow us there, like I said, to stay updated on Circle News. Thanks again so much for watching or listening, and I hope that you go conquer the rest of your week. Bye, y'all.